Chapter 19. The Vow. The forest falls silent as we gather around Tornu, the weight of dread crushing our chests. His eyes flutter open, and the relief that floods through me is so intense it's almost painful. Please, Ron, don't let it end like this. Not like this. Caldo moves to lift Tornu, but a weak hand stops him. No, Tornu whispers, his voice is a thread of sound. I won't make it. The words freeze me in place like the sudden bite of winter. No. This can't be happening. Not Tornu, not after everything. Don't say that, I choke out, tears already blurring my vision. We can carry you, we can... But Tornu's eyes silence me. He knows, and so do I. Kyra's hand finds mine, squeezing so tight it hurts. Her face is a mask of anguish, tears carving paths through the grime and blood on her cheeks. Tornu turns to Caldo first, a faint smile on his lips. Remember that time, during the great hunt of our 16th cycle, when we got lost, ended up in that cave, full of glowworms? Caldo's brow furrows, then his eyes widen in recognition, welling up with tears as he chokes out a response. By Roan, I'd forgotten about that. We told everyone we'd been tracking a massive bear, but really, we were terrified and huddling together like children. Tornu finishes, chuckling weakly. But it was beautiful, wasn't it? A tear slips down Caldo's weathered cheeks as he nods. Next, Tornu looks at Kyra. You've grown so strong, Kyra. Chiron would be proud. Never lose that fire in your eyes, or your talent for mimicking bird calls. Kyra lets out a watery laugh, tears streaming like twin waterfalls down her cheeks, one side stopping short on her cheek while the other carves its path to her chin. Tornu's gaze falls on Zolesh. Thank you, he says simply, for guiding Yoren, for being his friend. Watch over him. For me, will you? Zolesh nods solemnly, his usual bravado gone. As Tornu speaks to each of them in turn, I feel like I'm watching from outside my body. This can't be real. It's just another of Tornu's tales, right? Any moment now, he'll sit up and laugh, telling us it was all a lesson. And then he turns to me. Yoren, he begins, his voice warm despite its weakness. I've watched you grow from a curious child into a brave young man. Your parents would be so proud. The dam breaks. I'm sobbing now, uncontrollable, gut-wrenching sobs. Kyra's arms wrap around me, her own body shaking with silent tears. Always honor Roan and the Ancient Ones, Yoren. Tornu continues, each word a battle. But more importantly, stay true to yourself. Your heart is your greatest strength. He pauses, fighting for breath. I have protected you too long. Promise me something, Yoren. Promise you'll go beyond our borders. One day, see the world you've always dreamed of. I want to scream, to rage against the unfairness of it all. He should be there with me, showing me the world. But I know he won't be. Never again. I swear it, I whisper, my voice breaking. Tornu smiles, relief washing over his face. Good, he breathes. Good. His eyes close. For a heartbeat, I think he's just resting. But then I realize his chest isn't moving. No, I choke out, panic rising. No, Tornu, please. My voice cracks, raw with desperation. Don't leave me. Please don't go. It's not fair. Roan, damn it all, it's not fucking fair. Tuck, I still don't know if you can hear me in my silence, but fuck you. I fucking hope you can hear me, you Roan-damned bastard. When I said I was ready for whatever you decide, you know damn well this wasn't what I meant. I wish you and all the Ancient Ones had never noticed me. Then maybe I'd still have the last fucking person I could call family. But no, you just had to interfere. Had to give me whatever fucking gift this is. You know, the powers that I can't even fucking use when I need them. The ones that probably cost my uncle his soul in some fucked up cosmic exchange that we neither one had any damn say in. My tears fall silently, but my mind and heart just won't shut the fuck up. He's gone. My uncle, my teacher, my father in all but blood. Gone. Kyra pulls me into a fierce embrace as I break down completely. Her tears mingle with mine, her body shaking with silent sobs. "I'm so sorry, Yoren," she whispers, her voice thick with grief. "I'm so sorry." The forest seems to mourn with us, an eerie silence falling over everything. Zolesh's hand on my shoulder is a weak anchor to reality. As the crushing weight of loss settles over me, I feel something else stirring beneath the pain. A tiny spark of determination, fueled by Tornu's final words and the promise I made. I'll see the world beyond our borders. I'll make him proud, even if it kills me. But right now, in this moment, all I can do is cling to Kyra and weep for the father I've lost, for the guidance I'll never have again, for the love that's been ripped away far too soon. The world feels colder, emptier, but I made a promise, and I intend to keep it, even if it breaks me in the process. The silence after Tornu's last breath is shattered by a sound that freezes the blood in my veins. A roar, deep, guttural, primal, echoes from the border. It's like nothing I've ever heard before. Not Draculith, not beast, not human. What in the name of all the ancients? My heart slams against my ribs like it's trying to escape. Primal terror claws at my insides, a beast desperate to break free. Caldo's face goes ash white. His eyes widen with a fear I've never seen in our seasoned hunter. Kyra's grip on her weapon turns her knuckles white, her body coiled, tight as a spring about to snap. Zolesh mutters something low and fast. A prayer? A curse? Who knows? Whatever made that sound, it's not just dangerous. It's death given voice. But there's no time to process this new horror. Another sound rises, distant but growing. The thunderous rumble of Draculiths on the move. But this is wrong. The ground shakes beneath our feet, the rumbling building to a deafening roar. This isn't a few beasts. This is an army. The whole damn forest is alive and coming toward us. Pilly's touch. Ekro was right. We're so fucked. "We need to move." Caldo's voice cracks with urgency. "Now." We lift Tornu's body, grief making it weigh 1,000 times more than it should. As we race back, my mind spins out of control. What was that ungodly roar? What kind of horror could send an entire forest of Draculiths running? And how in the void are we supposed to face this when we've just lost Tornu? The journey back is a nightmare blur. Tornu's body, still warm in our arms, is a constant, crushing reminder of what we've lost. With every step, the stampede grows louder. The ground doesn't just tremble now, it heaves and bucks like a living thing. It feels like the world itself is tearing apart at the seams. We break through the tree line, and the village comes into view. People are already gathering, faces pale with confusion and mounting terror. They've heard the rumbling, seen the mass exodus of birds. But they don't know. They can't know the horror that's coming. Panic spreads like wildfire. People rush about, screaming, crying. The fear is so thick you could choke on it. And through it all I feel empty. Hollow. Like Tornu's death has carved out everything inside me, leaving nothing but a shell. We're not ready for this. We can't be ready for this. Whatever's coming, it might just be the end of everything. Tornu is gone, and with him, a piece of me. How can I face what's coming when I feel so incomplete? We push through the crowd, making our way to Melnin. Her eyes widen as she sees Tornu's body, but her healer's instincts take over. She quickly directs us to lay him down. Ansel approaches, his brow furrowed.
"What's all this commotion about? What's happening out there?"
As Ansel's eyes fall on Tornu's still form, the change in his demeanor is immediate and heart-wrenching. The chief's usual composure crumbles, his face contorting in a mix of disbelief and anguish.
"No,"
he whispers, the word barely audible, then louder.
"No!"
He pushes past me, falling to his knees beside Tornu's body. His hands hover over his fallen friend, as if afraid to touch him, to make it real. When he finally does, gripping Tornu's shoulder, a sound escapes him. Part sob, part primal howl of grief. It's a sound I've never heard from our stoic leader, one that sends chills down my spine. For a moment, Ansel isn't our chief. He's just a man who's lost his lifelong friend, his chosen brother. I watch as he bows his head, shoulders shaking with silent sobs. The sight is so raw, so personal, that I have to look away. When Ansel raises his head again, his eyes are red-rimmed, but filled with a fierce, terrible determination. He turns to us, his voice hoarse but steady.
"Tell me everything. Now."
We hurriedly explain the situation. glossing over the griffin attack and focusing on the pressing matters of the oncoming Dracolith horde. I see the color drain from his face. The crowd around us grows, people pushing closer to hear. Whispers turn to shouts of fear and disbelief. Children start crying, clinging to their parents. Some of the hunters grip their weapons tighter, while others look ready to flee. The panic is spreading like wildfire, threatening to consume us all. Before Ansel can respond, Ekra pushes her way through the crowd, her eyes wild. Here we go. A speech about how she was right all along, like Ansel really needs this right now. "Where's Lolly?" she demands. "Is she with you?" The question slams into me like a Dracolith's tail, knocking the air from my lungs. Lolly. Oh, Roan's breath, Lolly. Her name echoes in my mind, each repetition a fresh stab of guilt and fear. My vision blurs, the world tilting dangerously as the full weight of our oversight crashes down. How could we forget her? How could we leave her behind without even looking for her? Bile rises in my throat and I struggle to swallow it back. My hands shake uncontrollably and I clench them into fists, nails digging painfully into my palms. The pain is grounding, but it can't drown out the voice screaming in my head. We abandoned her. I abandoned her. Despite our mutual animosity, despite the fact that she stabbed me and tried to kill me, the thought of Lolly out there alone, possibly hurt or dead. My chest constricts, each breath a ragged struggle against the crushing weight of guilt and terror. We all look at each other, the awful realization sinking in that none of us has seen her. The silence that follows is deafening, filled with unspoken accusations and shared shame. We haven't seen her, I say, surprised by the tremor in my voice. But that doesn't mean she's not still out there, alive. Something in Ekra's expression changes. For the first time in my life, I see her tough exterior crack. Tears well up in her eyes, a mix of grief and fear washing over her face as she lets out a blood-curdling wail of inner pain. It's jarring to see her like this, vulnerable and human. Despite everything, I feel a pang of concern for Lolly. Roan's breath, what if she's out there alone, facing whatever made that ungodly sound? Ansel's voice cuts through my thoughts.
"All able-bodied tribespeople, to the palisade. We defend our home."
He turns to the others.
"Elderly, children, and those who can't fight, gather in the village center. We'll erect a second defense around you."
As the village erupts into frantic activity, I find myself torn. Part of me wants to rush to the palisade, to stand with my people against this unknown threat. Another part just wants to curl up by Tornu and pass through to the Vale or the Labyrinth or Grod's Balance, even the Void, wherever Tornu ended up. What would Tornu do? The thought brings a fresh wave of grief, but it also steels my resolve. Tornu would protect the tribe. He'd stand and fight. As I move towards the palisade, grabbing a spear along the way, I can't help but think, is this what being an adult feels like? Making impossible choices, facing unimaginable threats? It's been nothing but since my proving. The village is a flurry of activity. People rush to erect the makeshift palisade in the center, their movements frantic but purposeful. I find myself helping, my body protesting with each log we lift. The strain of the past few days, the fight with the griffin, carrying Tornu, the mad dash back to the village, it's all catching up with me. As we work, the reality we're facing settles in. A horde of Dracoliths, more than we've ever encountered before. My hands shake as I help secure the defenses. How can we possibly stand against this? But then I think of Tornu, of his unwavering belief in me, in all of us. We have to try. We have to fight. For our home, for our people, for those we've lost. The outer palisade, our first line of defense, stands 12 feet high, its sharpened logs driven deep into the earth. We've reinforced the weak spots with whatever we could find. Strips of hide lashed between logs, sharp stakes angled outward at the base. Hunters take position on hastily constructed platforms, quivers full of bone-tipped arrows at their sides. The inner palisade, circling the village center, is smaller, but no less formidable. It's a ring of interlocking wood planks and overturned wood and clay furniture, filled in with packed earth and stone. This is our last stand, if it comes to that. Inside, the elders huddle with the children, their fear-filled eyes watching our every move. The stampede grows louder. Time's running out. Damn it all. This wasn't supposed to happen. How in Roan's name are we supposed to withstand a whole army of Dracoliths? I walk stiffly over to the edge of the outer palisade. I want to know when they approach, see the bringers of death that will rain down upon my village, on my tribe, the only family I have left. My body feels like it's been run over by a herd of Dracoliths. Every muscle aches, a constant reminder of the battles we've fought. My throat is raw from shouting, from grief, from fear. Even my eyes burn, gritty with unshed tears in the dust kicked up by our frantic preparations. Between the two palisades, warriors stand ready. Some clutch spears with white-knuckled grips. Others test the edge of their bone knives or the weight of their clubs. Caldo paces the line, his normally jovial face set in grim determination as he checks our defenses one last time. For a master fisherman, he sure seems to make one veil of a warrior. I take my place among them, my own spear and knife feeling inadequate against the threat we face. But it's all we have. It's all I have. Whatever's coming, whatever made that bone-chilling roar, it's going to give us a tuck-damn hard fight. Of that, I'm sure. The sounds of the approaching horde grow louder. I take my position, knuckles white around my weapon. Weka, Roan, Pilly, Grod, Tuck, Tornu. If any of you are out there, if you can hear me, give us strength. We're going to need it.